and welcome to Sunny Side Up Yoga. We are going to focus in on our hips today. Your hips are going to thank you. As a matter of fact, nice job on just hitting play on this video today to take a little bit of time for you to do some really good stuff for your body. We're going to start down here and then stand up for a sun salutation, a basic sun salutation, to really get some blood flowing before we go into some pretty deep hip stretches today. So as always, tune into your body, and if your hips are really tight, it'd be a good idea to hit pause and grab a rolled up blanket, something that's going to give you some support to sit on, or if you have yoga blocks, go ahead and grab those. So let's get started. Here, we're just going to bring our hands behind us, plug in the fingertips like suction cups to the floor, open across the collarbones, and then squeeze the backside to lift the hip flexors up toward the sky, opening the front body. And then we'll take that right down, come onto all fours. You can keep your knees together actually, and we're just going to do a little side to side sway, kind of like a reverse windshield wiper here. Just gently starting to feel the hips as you rock them side to side. Great. And then from here, we're going to tuck the toes under, find a strong plank, lifting the knees off the floor, fingers are spread. Take yourself back into a downward facing dog, but keep the knees nice and soft. Just think about pressing your rib cage towards your thighs, and then look forward and step or hop your feet up toward the front of your mat. Inhale up nice and big. Let's just build a little bit of heat, get the blood flowing. Dive forward, releasing crown of head. Inhale, half lift here. Sink it back down, root the palms, step or hop back. Now from your knees or your toes, take your chaturanga into just about a baby cobra to start. Lower back down, baby cobra again, pressing up and down, and press into the palms this time, full cobra, and then either to all fours or straight away to a down dog. And then we'll repeat, bend the knees, look forward. Step or hop, feet up toward hands, inhale up big, exhale, dive forward. Inhale to your half lift, exhale, sink, find your plank, take your chaturanga, cobra, and downward facing dog. One more time, let's flow through that. Bend the knees, look forward, step or hop up. Inhale, big. Exhale, dive. Half lift. Sink it down, find your plank. Take your chaturanga from your knees or your toes. Lift and make your way back to that downward facing dog. Good. Right there, go ahead and bring your feet a little bit closer together, and then just gently sway the hips side to side. And from there, bend the knees, come all the way down. We're going to take a variation of a child's pose. So let's extend right leg out to the side, and then from there, go ahead and press sits bones back toward that heel, extend the arms out. So if you did grab that rolled up blanket and your knees are a little fussy in a regular child's pose, you could put that blanket between your sits bones and your heels here. Breathe into that. And press yourself back up. Bring that leg down and let's switch sides. Extend. Left leg out to the side. Sit back. Good. Breathing into that inner thigh type area. And press up. And bring the knees together, and we'll windshield wiper side to side. Good. And then go ahead and transition onto your back side. And from our back side, we're going to windshield wiper again. So hands are rooted down into the mat and gently sway the knees. Kind of rolling right onto the meaty part of that glute on that outer hip area. Swaying the knees. And we'll hold in the center and sit yourself up. All right, we're going to take a butterfly pose. This one's probably very familiar. You're going to bring your heels in close to your center body, allow the knees to fall open. And then from here, you're going to start to hinge forward a little bit. Maybe you hold the ankles, Maybe you use elbows to encourage the knees closer to the floor. Maybe you walk your hands right out. So just breathe into you today. There's no certain way you should look in a pose, but you should be able to let your breath flow. So if you find yourself holding your breath, you probably need to back off a little bit. Let the breath flow. Let's press back up here, seated. Now we're going to change that up a little bit, just because sometimes when we do familiar poses, we disconnect. So we're going to go into cobbler. I want you to push your heels away from you, creating a diamond shape here with the legs. And then we're going to hinge forward again. So again, the elbows can come to the knees, maybe gently encouraging the knees down to the ground. And see how that changes the stretch for you. Breathe there. One more breath here. And go ahead and bring yourself back out of that. Good. Extend your right leg long. Bring your left foot to the outer thigh. If it doesn't reach, that's okay. You can keep it inside. Hug your knee really close to your chest, and we're going to take a little spinal twist here. So catching the knee and the elbow crook, and then twisting, looking back behind you. Sits bones are nice and rooted, and you're drawing that knee in. You're feeling a nice stretch in the outer glute and hip area, along with your low back. Good, and let's release back to center here. Okay, a couple of variations here. You can do a seated figure four, so you're going to go ahead and start to lay that knee down toward the floor, flex the foot, and you can scoot the heel in close to your body and stay right here if this is enough. Or if it's okay for you, you're going to cradle the baby. So you're going to take that leg, lift it off the knee, cradling an elbow crook, and then maybe extending that leg away. So you do want to keep your torso up nice and long here. So you can go back to the seated where it's a little bit more supported, or you can lift that leg and hold it yourself. And then either place, if you want to add a little bit of wiggle, you're going to feel a nice deep hip stretch. Breath is flowing. And we'll release that. So gently push that leg away, and we're going to go to the other side. So crossing right over left. Take the elbow, draw that knee in nice and close, sit tall, and when you're ready, twist. Sits bones are rooted. Now draw that knee in a little bit closer. So that's going to help you to focus on that outer glute and hip area. So a lot of times when we're in a twist, we just start focusing on the spine, but I know if you breathe in and focus on that hip, you're going to feel a nice stretch right there. And one more breath here. We'll release, draw back to center, and then again, options. Flex the foot either place. If that leg or that ankle's above the knee, you can stay right here. You could eke that heel in a little bit more to deepen that stretch, or you could go ahead, keeping torso long, just draw that leg right up close to your chest. And then maybe you're breathing into stillness, or maybe you're finding a little bit of freedom and a little bit of discovery in that pose. Breathing into the glute, into the hip, and allowing your body to release. Staying nice and tall. One more breath cycle here. And we'll release. Good. Tip back. Staying nice and long across the collarbones though, and then windshield wiper once again. Great. And now we're going to meet on all fours. All right, here on all fours, you might as well take that nice cat-cow. So many benefits in this pose. And then we'll pause here. We're going to extend our right leg to the side and do that cat-cow again. And then with a flat back, go ahead and just move that right hand forward a little just so you're creating space, because you're gonna bring that right knee through and plant that foot. So we can come into our low crescent lunge. So here, think about starting to tip the tailbone down to face straight down toward the floor and rise up. Good, take a nice breath here, reaching forward with the left hip point and drawing back with the right hip crease. So really opening up through that left hip flexor. And then let's deepen that more by taking a little side bend, if that's right for you. If it's not, hold straight up. And we'll come back to center and hinge forward and take that left leg or your right leg all the way back behind you, and then walk it over to your left side, and then your gaze is going to follow. So those toes on your right foot are tucked under and plugged into the floor, and you're just feeling a nice stretch across that right hip point. Breathe into it. And then draw that leg back, and we'll replace that knee under the hip and extend left leg out to the side. Cat-cow here. Doing so much good focusing on the hips today. A lot of times, sciatica or issues with the piriformis, they can all present in different ways, but it can all be related to the hips. Pause there, walk that left hand forward. You're going to draw that knee forward, plant the foot, and then start to tip the tailbone down to the floor and rise up. Stay right there, or maybe take that side bend. So feeling a nice opening across that right hip flexor. One more breath cycle right here. Come back up to the center, hinge forward. You're going to take that left foot back behind you, over to the right side, plug the toes in, and then take a look over that right shoulder. So finding some nice length and drawing away from that left hip point, up to the waist and down the leg. Beautiful. Draw that back and bring your knee under your hip. We're going to go into frog pose here. So we're going to open the knees maybe as wide as your yoga mat, or maybe a little further. You want to try to keep the knees behind, or sorry, your ankles behind your knees. And then you're going to go to a place where you can breathe and just feel something happening here. So stretching through that inner thigh and opening the hip creases here. Maybe you're lowering all the way down to the floor. Good. One more breath cycle here. Plant the hands back under the shoulders. Draw the knees in. Let's windshield wiper side to side so knees can come together. Just let that go a little bit. Pause, and we're going to meet on our back side. So go ahead and flip back over. All right, we're going to take a deep fire log pose here. Okay, if fire log pose isn't going to be right for you, just an easy pose, that might not even be so easy, but if you've got really tight hip flexors, you're going to just try to sit crisscross applesauce, maybe on your blanket, maybe all the way down on the floor. So if this is enough, stay here. Otherwise, we're going to take this to a different level. We're going to bring our right leg out in front of us here, shin trying to come parallel to the front of your mat. And then we're going to take that left leg and bring it up, ankle over knee here. I'm going to right away flex my foot for some support. So flex both feet, and then you're going to think about rooting the sits bones down and then letting the knee fall over ankle. So ankle over knee, knee over ankle. Now you might stay right here. If hips are just already yelling at you, just find a place where you can convince the hips to let go and release. So inhaling deeply into the hips. Exhale, maybe we hinge forward a little deeper with every exhalation. I would just encourage you here to close your eyes and make this your own. Breathe into the hips. Nice deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Soften the face. Good. Allow yourself to ease in. We're not pushing anything too far or too fast, but just going into these deep poses with ease. Good. One more breath cycle here. And then you'll start to walk yourself back up if you had hinged forward at all. Great. Let's lean back onto our hands, uncross, let that go a little bit, shifting side to side. And then we're going to go on the other side. So if you were in crisscross applesauce, then just go other leg in front or on top. And here we go. We're going to stack this time left leg on the bottom, drawing out, shin coming as far forward or parallel to the front of your mat as you can, flexing both feet, stacking ankle over knee, knee over ankle. And then thinking about really rooting the sits bones down, sitting nice and tall. And then as you breathe, maybe you ease yourself forward into this deep hip opener a little further. Way to show up for yourselves today. Breathe into this. Breath, time, and patience helps you to release the ick out of the hip joints. Breathe in new space that wasn't there before. Create new mobility. One more full breath cycle here. And then you're going to start to walk yourself up out of this. Good. Let that go. Just push your legs out in front of you. Maybe bounce the knees a little bit. Great. And we're going to roll back right onto our back so we can set ourselves up for bridge pose. All right, here in bridge, you're kind of wrapping the shoulder blades under your body, reaching the fingers down for the heels. We're going to inhale, peel away from the floor, lifting the hips nice and high. Exhale, lowering the spine one vertebra at a time. And do that again. Inhale to peel up. Exhale to lower it down. Great. Okay, we're going to go into a lying shoelace pose. So you're going to cross your right knee over your left knee like you're sitting in a chair, all ladylike. And then you're going to bring your knees up and your thighs up and hug them in close to your body. Now maybe that's enough, or maybe you're going to slide your hands down, maybe reaching for the ankles, maybe even for the edges of the feet. And then there you're going to draw the feet in opposite directions, trying to have your shins and the edges of your feet parallel with the ceiling, and then continue to think about drawing them in close to your chest. And breathe right here. One more breath cycle there. And let's release and just push our heels up toward the ceiling. Just hang on behind the thighs. Smoosh your low back down into the mat. Maybe roll the ankles. We're just regrouping here so we can do shoelace pose on the other side. Go ahead when you're ready, bend the knees, cross this time the left knee over right. And then from here, drawing the thighs in nice and close to the body. And if you can take it further, you're gonna shimmy your hands down your legs, reaching for the edges of the feet, drawing the toes away from each other. Shins parallel to the ceiling, and draw the thigh in a little bit closer to your chest. One more breath cycle here. And let that go. Go ahead, plant the feet on the floor wider than your hips. Rock the knees side to side, windshield wiper. And we're going to take our final pose, which is happy baby pose. So when you're ready, knees will face the ceiling, and then we bring the knees in close to our chest, or kind of outside the chest, actually up toward your armpits. And then we're gonna walk our hands up. Maybe we can reach our ankles today. Maybe the edges of our feet or our peace fingers can wrap around the big toes. And then we're gonna encourage the knees to drop outside the body. So great for the inner thighs, great for the hips. Also a nice low back release. So maybe again, you like to hold and breathe into it. Maybe you like to rock and wiggle a little bit. Just make that your own. We'll take one more breath together in our happy baby pose. And then we'll release. Let's push the heels up one more time up toward the sky. And then we'll go ahead and bend knees into the chest. Lift the shoulder blades just so we can rock ourselves back up to a seated position. I hope your hips feel more wide open than they have in a long time. Let's take one more big breath together. Inhaling, reaching up. And exhaling, draw right into the heart center. Namaste. I'm so glad you tuned in and treated your hips today. There are some other videos, so if there's another part of your body that's looking for some extra goodness today, find one. If you haven't already subscribed to Sunnyside Up Yoga with Amy, I'd love for you to hit subscribe, and then if you want to hit the little bell next to that, then you'll receive notifications when I post new videos. Thanks for joining me.